Yeah, what's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today we're going over the top 5 cards from each color for murders at Manor Karlov. Last time we did last card with Ixalan. I think did pretty well. We nailed the Geological Appraiser, which turned out to be one of the best cards in the set. Even got banned. We're right about the Schooner as well. Y'all can go back and watch that, but I feel like we're pretty accurate with that set. I feel like this is gonna be similar too. So let's go ahead and dive in. Again, I'm just gonna go over the top 5 cards from each color and the multicolor cards. Keep in mind, some of these cards might seem a little underwhelming as monocolored cards. And that's because we are in Ravnica, and I have to get top 5 cards from each color. So the strongest cards are going to be monocolored cards, but I do have a top 5 in each of the colors. Starting with white, the first one is going to be Case of the Uneaten Feast. This is a new type of enchantment. It's a case. Gives you an ability. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Pretty straightforward upgrade from Johnny's Welcome. It's pretty obvious. Great in life gain decks. Easily replaceable in those decks. But the cases also have another ability where if you solve them, they do something else. And to solve this, it's pretty easy. It's going to be pretty easy for a life gain deck. You just gain 5 or more life. You solve it at the beginning of your end step, and then from there, you still have the ability of gaining life, and you will have the solved case, which means you are able to sacrifice this case now, and then cast any more creature cards from your graveyard this turn. This is really powerful in those type of decks because usually those creatures have like low mana cost, nothing crazy. So you're able to gain life, grow your creatures with like the Johnny Pridemate type of deal. Late in the game, you can then sacrifice this and reanimate your creatures as long as opponent does exile them. So. All right, coming number 4 is going to be the cheapest Future Sight type card we've seen. So there's 2 mana. It says you may look top card of your library, and once per turn you may cast a creature spell with power 2 less from top of your library. It is once per turn, but that being said, it's only 2 mana. Assemble the Players is like the cheapest type effect we've seen. Again, like Future Sight is 5 mana. Oracle Moldiah is like 3 mana, or 4 mana rather. 3 mana is Augur of Autumn. We haven't really seen a 2 mana ability. This is like pushed for white. It's the white card advantage, and I think this one is good enough for those type of decks. Coming number 3, nothing too exciting, but it's Novice Inspector. Basically just a reprint of 3-mana Inspector. Nothing fancy. 1 mana, 1/2 comes in play. Investigate. Relevant typing is Inhuman. Being 1/2 means it can block 1/1s obviously. Again, nothing crazy, but we've seen this card before with a different name, and it's always done pretty well for itself. All right, number 2 is the new card, Unyielding Gatekeeper. It's the Elephant Cleric, so the typing isn't too great. It's not a human or anything, or a soldier. It has the keyword Disguise. Disguise is where you can morph a creature for 3 mana, turn it face down, and then it has Ward as well as being a 2/2. And you turn face up for its Disguise cost, which this one's 2 mana. So, or you just play it face up as a 3/2. So what's cool about this is when you turn it face up, you can save your creature by exiling it and then bring it back tapped. It's also a permanent. It's not only a creature. You can exile a permanent or a creature. If it's yours, it comes back. If it's your opponent's, they get a 2/2 white and blue token. So kind of like an expensive Skyleaf apparition that you can play more aggressively on curve. Or leave it as a face down combat trick to like protect your creatures as well. Card's pretty neat. Not crazy, but it is my pick for number 2. Number 1 is gonna be 10 District Hero. Human, great typing, 2/3. You won't play too many of these, I think, because of the collect evidence. So it's a 2 mana 2/3. It's gonna collect evidence 2, and we do because of 4/4. Then it's going to have collect evidence 4 after it's a 4/4 to become a 5/5 that gives all the other creatures indestructible. It is powerful for the 2 mana, but it's basically like how reliably can you collect evidence? Maybe better in a black-white sack deck, or even like an aggressive deck, but just have like 1 or 2 of these so that you can collect evidence. Because if you collect evidence reliably, it's very good. If you can't, 2 mana 2/3, and that's all it does is kind of rough overall. So those are top 5 white cards. Next up is going to be blue. Coming number 5 is going to be Conspiracy Unraveler. 7 mana 6/6 with flying, and it says you may collect evidence 10 rather than pay the cost of spells that you cast. Again, this card isn't crazy, but it is the number 5 pick. The problem is that at 7 mana we have Atraxa, right? So that is the problem. But it can be a combo enabler. Being able to play Omniscience or Behold the Multiverse, or Portal to Phyrexia is pretty neat. We also have Squirming Emergence as well. So there's a way, you could Squirming Emergence this card out, then cast something else as well. Not a crazy card by any means, but it is a cool one and gets my vote for number 5. Number 4, we have Case of the Ransacked Lab. Again, this is a new enchantment type, the cases. So it gives all your source spells cost 1 less. So kind of like Goblin Electromancer, but for 3 mana. It's enchantment, it's harder to remove. That's really nice. That's gonna be the best part about this case. Chapter 2, when you solve it, you can solve it by casting 4 more instant cards this turn. So what's funny about this is like 4 more instants is like if I'm casting 4 more instants in 1 turn, I feel like I'm probably gonna win that game. Like I don't need to solve the case, but maybe you do. Let's say you do. This ensures if you solve the case, you will never run out of gas. When this is solved, your instant source spells will draw you a card when you cast them. I think if you play this, you're gonna play for the first part, and I believe if you trigger the second part, if you solve it, then you will just either win on the spot or take over the game. This is kind of like a fringe, kind of cute card, I think, kind of like Mind Splice Apparatus, but in enchantment form. And honestly, I kind of like it. It's fun. It's a fun little card. Next up was one I can see competitive decks and control decks playing. This one's called Deduce. It says draw a card, investigate. This reminds me of things like Think Twice. We draw a card now, and then draw one later. It's kind of like a different quick study. Also, the artifact can be nice because we can use the artifact later to sacrifice it for different abilities. Like we can use it for like indomitable creativity, right? And then, or if we don't draw that card, we can just use the clue later to just draw a card. Very straightforward. Coming number 2 is Forensic Gadgeteer, 3 mana 2/3. Kind of reminds me of Sai, the Thopter guy. So it says 2/3. It says whenever it has an artifact spell, you get to investigate. And it says active abilities of artifacts you control cost 1 less to activate. This, of course, makes the clues cost 1 mana instead of 2, which is a big difference. That's like half off, right? So now 3 mana draws you 3 cards instead of just 1, right? Like if you had 3 clues out and you have 3 mana, you draw 3 with this one, where normally you only would draw 1. And that's a pretty big deal. Also, this does combo with Basalt Monolith in like Commander games. By making it untap for 2 mana instead of 3, giving you infinite mana. Of course, a lot of things combo with Basalt Monolith, but this card also by itself is pretty good, in my opinion. Reason the cost of active abilities is powerful, and it also creates ways for you to draw cards. The problem with this card is it dies a cut down, which is rough. But yeah, dying to cut down isn't where you want to be. But I think blue kind of got shafted in the set, just mono blue in general. But here we are. Coming number 1 is gonna be True the Mind. This is 5 mana. Reveal start 5 cards in your library, and separate them in 2 piles. So you separate them. Your opponent picks a pile to go to your hand, and then one goes to the graveyard. And then you make a 0/0 Thopter with flying. And you put X plus 1/+1 counters on it. Each card put in the graveyard this way. So essentially, if you have a 2 and 3 pile, 2 cards and 3 cards, your opponent gives you 2 cards to your hand. You'll put 3 cards in your graveyard and make a 3/3 flying Thopter token. The fact that you get a body is what's nice about this. There are some games maybe you go 5 and 0 because you really want the creature to kill them. Like maybe they're tapped out, right? And they have to give you 5 cards. It really can mess with the opponent as well. And the fact that it fuels the graveyard, fuels like Delirium, fuels the Collect Evidence, which is from the set, and fuels Descent from the last set, is nice. It does compete with Memory Deluge, but it's also different from Memory Deluge, which actually works well with Memory Deluge. So that is pretty nice. Moving on to black, Coming number 5 is going to be Persuasive Interrogators. This might be a little surprising, but this is 6 mana 5/6. When it comes to play, Investigate, and has the ability that whenever you sacrifice a clue, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. I feel like this could be a combo deck where you're playing black X and just make a bunch of clues, or maybe the white, because then you can play the black white creature, or some way to sacrifice clues instant speed. So basically, you can play this, you can then sacrifice 5 clues right away and kill your opponent, like a combo deck of sorts. And I think that's where this could see play. Just make sure you have 5 clues, because otherwise they can respond to kill it. But if you have 5 clues and the sack outlet, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they try to kill it, because you will win on the stack and just give them 10 poison counters. Turn number 4 is going to be another case. It's a black case of the Stash Skeleton. 2 mana for 2/1 skeleton with suspect or suspected, which means it has menace and it can block. And solve it is pretty easy. All you have to do is control no skeletons that are suspected. And when it's solved, you can pay 2 mana to Demonic Tutor, which is pretty sweet, honestly. Only the sorcery, but still powerful. It gives you a body to attack early, and then you can sacrifice the body, something like Village Rites, or your party can block it, what have you, and then you're able to Demonic Tutor later. Not crazy, but it'll do. It'll do. All right, another one. Next up is going to be one that's going to be a staple. Long Goodbye. Just eliminate. Eliminate's already playable. This is just strictly better than that because it can't be countered. So we'll see Long Goodbye into mirror decks and just black X control decks. Very easily slot over your eliminates if you're playing them. So black has access to like Long Goodbye now. Go for a Throat. Rare Triumph. And all that stuff. Next up, we have one that's kind of crazy, I think. Outrageous Robbery. This card is, I think, going to be fun to cast and miserable to play against. So, Robbery is black X. It says target opponent exiles the top X cards of their library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remain exiled. If you cast a spell this way, you need to spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast it. This is like a giant Siphon Mind, or the blue-black card. Like, EOT doing this for 5 or for 4 or whatever, not only does it mill your opponent out, you get to like get a bunch of spells, right? It seems like a mid-range Mirror Breaker, a ramp Mirror Breaker, even like in domain decks doing this. Like, imagine you're both playing this card, right? You Robbery and you hit their Robbery. It's just like becomes kind of brutal. And then your Traxas can be scary because they can mill you. Anyways, I think this card is a great sideboard card. Even great in black control decks. Main deck is 1 over 2 of. It's pretty brutal. It's a pretty brutal ability. I hate when my opponents win with my cards, but this is one of the better ones we've seen. Obviously, I think it competes with Siphon Insight. Siphon Insight is better like on curve, but late game Robbery is a beating. Coming number 1 is going to be Deadly Cover Up. This is a Black Wrath. Finally, we lost Music Massacre. And we finally have a good Black Wrath. It's 5 mana, but hey, we'll take it, right? It says, as you cast this, you may collect evidence 6. Also, destroy all creatures. If evidence was collected, exile a card from opponent's graveyard, then search its owner's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with that same name and exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand this way. This is super sweet. Being able to like just wrap the board and then be like, okay, I don't want any more Shield Eldreds, right? Or if you want to, if they're playing maybe the kind of mana screwed, you hit their basic lands. I'm not sure that's good, but you can do it, right? It's just, or even like just Deadly Cover Up and just being like, okay, I'm killing this Atraxa. You'll get no more reanimating it, no more drawing anymore. They're all gone. That's super nice, and I think it's gonna be very, very relevant in the format, honestly. So excited for this card and to see what it does in the format. Super sweet card. I like him. I'm a fan. All right, moving on to the red cards. Coming number 5 is going to be Lamplight Phoenix. 3 mana, 3/3 flyer. It says when this thing dies, you may exile it and collect evidence 4. If you do, return the battlefield tapped. Now, I don't think this card is crazy. It's not crazy actually. I see it as more as a combo card. It's not. I don't really see it as an aggressive card because it doesn't have haste. But with things like Alter Dementia or ways to mill yourself, you can like sacrifice this, mill yourself, and then bring it back and mill yourself again. Keep going until like you have enough cards in your graveyard to do something else. It's not crazy, but that is the potential I see it. It's not a good card aggressively. I think if it had haste, it'd be a lot better. Surprised it doesn't have haste, honestly. But the fact it doesn't have haste, I think makes it a lot worse. Card number 4 is just we keep seeing Tormented Voice being pushed. Now it's instant, which we have instant before, but now you can discard artifact as well. So it says additional cost to sacrifice this. Wow, additional cost to cast a spell, sack an artifact, or discard a card. Right, so you can do the old Tormented Voice thing. You sacrifice a clue, or a blood token, or a food token, and draw 2 cards. This type of ability is always pretty good in like decks that put artifacts or are trying to animate something. So maybe trying to ban a creature or an enchantment or whatever, and then reanimate it. This is just the best version of those cards that we've seen so far. Demand answers. Next up is Crime Novelist. It's a little cute goblin bard. I love this as a bard. 3 mana, 1/3. It says whenever you sacrifice an artifact, put a counter on this thing, and add 1 red mana. So obviously great with clues, even better with treasures, because it puts counters, right? So if you curve this with like, I don't know, in Commander with Darkseid Extortionist, or if you curve this in Standard, and it just makes your clues way better, and because these are counters, it's not possible to the T, it's permanent. So if you're playing artifacts, you may want to consider Crime Novelist as a finisher. All right, comment number 2 is going to be Pyrotechnic Performer. For 2 mana, it's a 3/2, and has this disguise, kind of like the White Elephant. But with this one, you can turn face up for one red instead of 2 mana, which is much cheaper. It says whenever this thing is turned, whenever this or another creature you control is turned face up, that creature deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. So early on, it's just a 3/2. In late game, it's a 4 mana. Bolt your opponent's face. Multiplayer, it's each opponent, so it's like 9 damage, I guess. But it's super sweet that you can do either be aggressive with it, or it can be burn later in the game. It's unblockable, right? So I see that as in aggressive strategies. And comment number 1 is going to be our, I guess, Bedlam Reveler at home. Still, Bedlam Reveler at home. 2 mana for 2/1. Fugitive Codebreaker. Goblin Rogue has prowess and haste, which is pretty good, right? So it attack the turn it comes in, has prowess that grows later in the game, but it has more than that. It has disguise. So its disguise cost is going to be kind of slow. Obviously, you pay 3 mana turn face down, but it has this disguise cost of 5 and a red, but it's reduced by 1 for each instant sorcery card in your graveyard. So ideally, you'd play 1 red mana to turn this face up, and when you do, you discard your hand and then draw 3 cards. So obviously you want to be able to discard your hand, draw 3 cards, and then have a prowess haste creature, graveyard refill, and then it fuels itself by drawing in your hand, right? So good on curve, and then mid-late game you can just refill your hand. Pretty solid. Not super, not broken by any means, but it is a solid card. Now, finally, green. I think green actually got the best. Mono green, like green got the best from the set as far as playable cards, I would say. Card number 5 is going to be Undergrowth Recon. It's an enchantment. It's at the beginning of your upkeep. Return target land card from graveyard to the battlefield tapped. This is really slow. I'll play this card. I think it's really fun. Obviously, great commander. It is slow for standard, but it is a very powerful ability. It's like Crucible of Worlds that ramps, right? It's not like, okay, well, this is my land drop for the turn. No, you just play it. If you really want the land to come untapped, you can play things like Spelunking. And the lot of lands in standard right now that have like abilities, the hidden lands that allow you to discover, for example, are nice. You have Sunken Citadels too. So I like this card. I'm excited what people can do with it, and see what I can do with it as well. Coming up 4, another sweet land card, Aftermath Analyst, 2 mana for 1/3, and it says this thing enters the battlefield, mill 3. All right, it's not nothing crazy, but it has the ability to Splendid Reclamation, which is sacrifice this card, return all land cards from graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That's super sweet. Much better than Splendid Reclamation. One, because it fuels itself. So when you play, it's going to mill you 3. I can block, which is also great. And then you can bring everything back as well. The fact that it mills you is just one of the best parts. The fact, like, and also being able to block. So like if you play, even the first one dies, it's not that bad. You know, if it dies, it's not a huge deal, because then you can like just, the second one you play can just bring back the lands the first one milled, right? Or if you're milling yourself a lot in like Sultai, you can play this and bring all lands back and just jump in mana tremendously. So super sweet card. One of my favorite cards from the set for sure. Now next up is the green case. I like this one. This is my favorite case from the set. It's 4 mana. It says you may play initial land on each of your turns. So exploration basically. To solve pretty easily. If you control 7 more lands, like green ramps, right? And on top of that, 7 lands isn't that much. Isn't asking that much, especially for ramping. And when it's solved, you look at the top card of your library anytime, and you play land cards and enchantment cards from the top of your library. Seems super sweet and enchantress type effect, like Selesnya. Even just like a ramp deck that has a lot of enchantments, right? Like Domain could play this too, because they have lands and they have Leyline Binding, right? Maybe they want to play more enchantments if they're playing this. It's like a 5th Invasion of Zendikar type deal, or maybe this makes a brand new deck. Obviously, this is gonna be really good in an enchantment type of strategy. Playing all your lands from the top of your library and all your enchantments and drawing cards and just going nuts. And you play more than 1 land per turn because of this card. It's just super sweet. Super cool card. Coming number 2, it's common. It's a Pick Your Poison. For 1 green, you can choose one. Each opponent sacrifices an artifact, an enchantment, or a creature with flying. This is really sweet for 1 mana. Helps answer Blood Moon cleanly for 1 mana. Just help answer a lot for 1 mana. And it doesn't target, which is nice. So your opponent can't like give protection of some sort. Obviously, it gets worse if your opponent has two the same permanent they want to destroy. But regardless, it's 1 mana. Like, it's 1 mana answer to a lot of problems. Great cyber card. Love it. This is gonna be a staple in like all sorts of older formats. Coming number 1, I think no one's surprised at this. It's gonna be Archdruid's Charm. This is the blue charm, but green. I can only imagine they're doing a charm for every cycle. And the green one is choose 1. Search life for a creature or land card. Reveal it. Point your hand. If it's a land, put on the play tapped, and then shuffle your library. This is basically like 2 modes. It says choose 1, but it's basically saying choose a creature or choose a land. It's kind of like 2 choices. And then the next mode is put a +1/+1 counter to our creature you control. It deals damage equal to its power to our creature you don't control. So it's a fight spell. And then the last mode is exile target artifact or enchantment. It's very important that it's exile. It's very good against like things like the One Ring. That's indestructible. That's seeing more and more play in timeless, historic, and even modern. So good versus that. And that's basically like two more modes. It's kind of like 5 modes essentially: exile an artifact, exile an enchantment, fight, get a creature, or get a land. Right. So super powerful card. I love it. Obviously great with Feel the Dead, great with Valakut. Just a super sweet card. Also, older formats, maybe when I grab a Curve Behemoth in Elves or Gaia's Cradle. So, I like it. I like it. All right, coming after the monocolored cards, we're coming at the multicolored. I don't want to rank things like Lightning Helix or Assassin's Trophy. Those cards are obviously very good and we'll see a ton of play. So I'm going to go over cards that are not reprints that I believe are also good. Coming at number 5 is going to be Golgari, called Azani, Center of the Web. Golgari is a very slow deck that is attrition, that grinds you out, kills your stuff. I can see them playing 1 or 2 of these. It is a 6 mana, 5/4 with menace. And it says whenever Azani ATBs or attacks, you may collect evidence 4. If you do, you make 2/2/1 black and green Spire tokens with menace and reach. So that's 9 power for 6 mana, and does it every time it attacks as well. Then it has more text. It says sacrifice 4 tokens. If you do, surveil 2, then draw 2 cards, and you gain 2 life. Great with plant tokens, great with clues, great with whatever you have laying around. Whatever you have laying around. And what's nice about this is if they do kill Azani, you will still get the ability, and you'll get 2 spiders as well. So I think this is pretty solid for the Golgari midrange deck as a finisher. It's like one of or 2 of at the top end. Card number 4 is Leyline of the Guild Pact. Did I tell you green got a lot of help this set? This is a multicolored card, but it's very much a green card as well. All the pips have read in them. It has the Leyline ability. If it's opening hand, you play it for free. It starts to play for free. It says each non permanent control is all colors, so everything is multicolored. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their type. So all your lands add any card mana you want. This is great for a lot of things. It's great for domain. It's great for just mana fixing in general. It's great for like things like Dread Presence. It's great for Valakut the Molten Pentacle. Each non-permanent being all colors is great. Like Bloom Tender adds 5 colors for 2 mana. Fabor Elder adds 5 colors for 3 mana. Collusion Victory. There's list goes on, right? You can do a lot. Also, it being green is great for Nykthos, right? This allows you to like turn 2 Storm the Festival. Like if you have Leyline, turn 1, and then you go land War Elf, and then turn 2 you go Nykthos, Kiora. Nykthos, add 5 mana, play Kiora, untap Nykthos again, cast Storm the Festival on turn 2, right? It's a silly card, and also this makes Nykthos itself tap for green mana in that deck. So I think it's cool. Very, very cool card. And just very versatile and all kinds of synergies and combos. So, all right, after that, we have No More Lies. This is a mana leak. It's uncounterable. Sorry, it's not uncounterable. I don't know why I said it's uncounterable. I'm thinking of Cavern of Souls. This is counterable, but says if the card is countered this way, exile instead. What I'm trying to say is that this card is super sweet and very powerful, but there is Cavern of Souls, so it's going to combat that. That being said, it is still a 2 mana it's still mana leak, and mana leak can hit non-creatures. So this will help control out, but control is going to struggle as well against Cavern of Souls. So we need a way to combat that. We do have Field of Ruin, which is a way to beat Cavern of Souls. But four mana leaks and more counter spells and ways to draw cards and True the Mind memories does seem pretty sweet and powerful for 4 control decks. All right, command number 4 is going to be Insidious Roots, 2 mana enchantment, black green. It says creature tokens you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. This is great. That alone, if you build your deck correctly, should apply to most of your creatures. So basically like a ramp, like Cryptolith Rites, but for tokens. It says whenever 1 or more creature cards leave your graveyard, make a 0/1 plant, and then put a counter on each plant you control. So if you're collecting evidence, if you're delving, if you're Deathrite Shaman, whatever it is, You make a plant and you grow it, and that plant adds mana, and it grows with other plants. I'm sure there's a combo deck with this card. This card seems super sweet, powerful, and very versatile. All right, coming at number 1 is the most pushed Glorious Anthem I think I've ever seen. War Leader's Call, 3 mana for a creature you control, get +1/+1. Not even legendary. And this is another creature enters battlefield under your control. War Leader's Call deals 1 damage to each opponent. The fact that it says each is obviously great for multiplayer formats, but even in like competitive formats, this card is really good. 3 mana to pump your whole team permanently, and then just playing creatures out starts burning your opponent. It's not gonna take too many turns to just kill them. And the fact that this stacks both ways, like it stacks in that your creatures will go twice, and it also ping them twice as well for each creature that comes in play. So if you're playing like a tokens shell, or there's a Boros deck in Pioneer that like has, you know, that spits out a bunch of creatures and convokes them all, then blah blah blah. It fills the board up. Now it can burn you as well as growing the board as well. So super powerful card. Definitely card I'm scared of to face in Standard for sure. And last is just gonna be the lands. I love the gives all the cycles, but it's just the lands that like Meticulous Archive, essentially. The lands with types has like Plains, Island, or Forest and Island, and they can play tapped and let you surveil 1 instead of scry 1. So what this means is we can fetch them with fetch lands. They're great for domain. It allows us to have those types for domain. And surveil is better than scry, because usually the graveyard is going to be an extension of our hand. So just strictly better temple cards. I think they're super sweet and very powerful. So I'm glad they give us all of it. They give us all of them. It wasn't just like here's 5. So those are definitely the cards that these lands will probably see the most play of all the cards in this set, and will last the longest. I think it's pretty clear that because these lands exist, cards should rotate in Standard. We should be losing the new triomes. We're not though, because they decided to extend Standard. I think we see that a lot in this set. There's a lot of cards that are like, okay, this card would be good if we didn't have so and so card, right? Like even Master Girl. She's the same mana curve as Shieldred. 4 mana for 4/4 menace, and then you can draw cards with Wither. But honestly, that card, no one's gonna play that card when Shieldred exists. Like, I feel like it's pretty obvious. You can see that, you know, like Memory, Intrude the Mind, etc. etc. But anyways, this is a set review for the set. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you use code Ollie5 at checkout if you're buying any of these cards. You can save 5% off entire order. You get a sweet treasure token. Super cool. And yeah, thanks for watching. Come watch live sometime over twitch.tv/Aldrazi where I stream. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.